Are you interested in effortlessly growing your Bitcoin portfolio? I sure am. The Bitcoin credit card by Gemini earns you Bitcoin back on every purchase. Use it like any credit card. Buy lunch, gas, or your weekly groceries, and you'll earn up to 4% back instantly in Bitcoin or one of over 50 other cryptos straight to your account. All that with no annual fee. And right now, you can grab a $200 Bitcoin welcome bonus. It's the easiest way to start building your Bitcoin stack. Go to Gemini.com/card to learn more. Terms apply. See the link in the description for more information regarding rates and fees.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. What a show. What a day in sports that we have coming up. Underway already in Major League Baseball. Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, 30 minutes. His approach to betting today's card with 4 on the slate. Wednesdays with Vito's son, Sal Palantonio, in 1 hour. Now what does he think about the Eagles? Mike Palm later on in studio. Matt Human, some best bets as well, Paulie. And we'll get to plenty of NFL throughout the next 3 hours as well. But we are now moving to the 4th inning in Detroit. Mariners can close this bad boy out today. They lead 1-0. Bryce Miller currently dealing against his Tigers team. In-play number here, Seattle, a little bit less than $2 on the money line. At DraftKings, total now just moved from 6.5, a full run down to 5.5 as Miller coasted through that third.
Mm-hmm. He needed that because he almost gave up a home run in the 2nd inning. WTP, baby. Thank God for that. But it was good. The bats came alive yesterday. They were awesome in the win. And you got to get this one here, right? You haven't advanced since 2001 to the ALCS. And you know what happens if you lose? You got to go against Skubal. So you can say, well, we've already beat them once, but you got to wrap this up.
Here's the thing, right? All hands. This. Yes. Paul, this has to be all hands on deck today.
Going for the kill.
And I think that's like the biggest compliment that you can give a guy like Skubal.
Yep.
Is that we do not want to face you again.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever we got to do to win this game today, man, we'll throw whomever we have to. And if they win it today, that place is going to be going berserk. Obviously, if the win, obviously, for the ALCS at that point. And then we have 2 other games coming up, 3 other games later on. Brewers, Cubs. Brewers can close that out. Priester's going today. Blue Jays, Yankees. Schlittler on the mound. Going to be a bullpen game for the Blue Jays.
I know. I love the Yankees tonight.
You love them?
I love them. I do.
Is that because it's you think the offense is going to be rocking and rolling, or you just you trust Schlittler? Or
yeah, I think Cam will be fine. I'm concerned about the Blue Jays pitching, what they're going to do with Varland to start, the pride of St. Paul, who got lit up last night, and then Lauer's behind him. So it's unfortunate what's happened here with the timing. That you don't have Bichette, and the big blows, you don't have Bassett.
Yeah.
And you got to go with these guys now. And you let them off the hook. You had them. It's 6-1 in the 2nd inning. They were 39-0 this year when they led by 5+ runs, and they were 74-5 in games where they scored 5+ runs. And now the Yankees are alive and well. The home team's 13-3 head-to-head this year, and Toronto's lost 7 in a row with a chance to advance. So I don't like their chances tonight, and I think the Yankees bats will again have a big day. Yankees team total over, and I just don't think it's going to go well for the pitchers that the Blue Jays are trotting out here. It's unfortunate, right? Not to be Debbie Downer because it's a great day, but the timing of these injuries. It's one thing where, okay, Cole gets hurt, he's out for the year. But right when you're going into the playoffs, Seattle loses Wu, Toronto loses Bassett and Berrios.
Huge.
Right. What happened with Wheeler, another big blow, and there's been several injuries like that now that's happened just in the last couple of weeks.
No, but let me give you this, and it has to do with Schlittler going, and he was magical in his postseason debut against the Red Sox last week. He struck out, so many batters. It was the ladder props in that game. You could have retired.
Yeah.
But Toronto's lineup, Major League Baseball low, 17% K rate against righties. And this is such a great tweet from Buster Olney, ESPN, who said, count the foul balls tonight as an indicator of how Schlittler's outing is going against a team that has the lowest strikeout rate in the big leagues. In his first start against Toronto, the Blue Jays had 20 foul balls among 90 pitches, and he threw a strong 5 innings. In his second start against Toronto, the Jays had 24 foul balls as he threw 66 pitches over 1 2/3 before he was knocked out of the game. They make as much contact as anybody, and they don't strike out. So if he's and his K prop, by the way, when it opened last night, 5.5, heavily juiced to the under because of the team that he's facing here.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're just going to hit, like, if they can do that again, and they're like, by the third inning, they have like 20 foul balls or whatever it is, and they're making contact, and his pitch count goes up, and the strikeouts are not there, that's how you're going to stay alive in this game.
That's a great handicap, and that's a fascinating prop tonight as well. I like Judge to have a walk, $1.70. Can't pitch to him. Here he is now. He's hitting 500. He was awesome again last night. Vlad is plus money to have a walk, too. He's gone deep through. You can't pitch to him. He's plus $1.10 in some spots. I saw to have a walk. So got to pitch around him. And I just don't think, with the Yankee team total over here, I don't think there's much that Toronto staff can do, even though they're saying all the right things and they haven't advanced since 2016. But I'm just worried about, my God, we let one get away. It was 6-1, and we blow it. And you mentioned the Cubs game as well. Look at the total, 6.5. We got the wind blowing in. Now, Tyone was great once he came off the IL, and he was solid. He went 4 innings. It was good in the Padre game in the last series. Cubs have yet to score more than 3 runs in a game in the postseason. And Priester, we know, was awesome. What a story this kid is. Grew up a Cubs fan, was at the World Series in one of the games, and won 19 in a row before he lost to the Reds in his final start. 12-0 with a 2.84 during that stretch. Did get roughed up in one outing against the Cubs, but I back Milwaukee here. Number 1 in road record, run differential, winning percentage. Haven't advanced since 2018. I think they're too good, and the offense is too good. And I think the Cubs, who are scuffling big time at the plate, especially with runners in scoring position, I think the Brewers get the broom out.
So books were taking their time to post player props last night. Like, it took a long time for K-props to come out until like the wee hours for some of the guys going today. But they did post batter props in almost all these games. And when you look at the overall history here, the batter versus pitcher history in this game, Yelich versus Tyone, 13 of 37. That's an average of 351, 2 homers, 2 doubles. Cheerio, red hot right now, playing today again, 7 of 13, 539 average, a home run, and 2 doubles. Some other guys have good numbers against him as well. I just knew that these numbers were going to move, or I thought, I didn't know. I thought that they were going to move. So I grabbed Yelich over 1.5 total bases plus 150 right away last night. And I also grabbed Cheerio over 1.5 total bases plus 110. And so they have moved a little bit. My thought is here, if I can at least split those, it'll be a winning day with those 2 guys, with the hope of they actually both get there against the guy based on kind of their history here and how good they are overall anyway. Mm-hmm. And so those were 2 that I made. And by the way, you were talking about the walk props with Vlad and Judge. How about this angle now? Because Judge was just a killer last night, and Vlad's like the hottest guy in baseball right now. And I ran these by our buddy Will Hill, who loves finding angles like these, and he said that he approves. Aaron Judge, do you think there's an angle here where the pitchers in the first inning will do anything they can to pitch around, or maybe even like basically give them like an unintentional intentional walk?
Yes.
Vlad's first at bat, 6-1 for a walk. This is a low number on Judge, but plus 375. I don't put anything even remotely close to the strike zone for Aaron Judge to hit.
I like it. Totally agree. I'm on board. I also would rather play double than home run. Doubles plus 410. I think that's a better angle because he's getting great swings up there. And I think he can do that. I'd rather have that than these home run props, which are so low. Plus 180 in some spots. Come on.
Yeah, here's what I did in the late game based on that. Now, Kiki Hernandez against Aaron Nola. It's a short sample size. Only 11 at-bats, 4 hits, 3 home runs. I did not play a home run prop on him. I found last night, again, the hits, runs, and RBIs prop. It was 1.5 over plus 135, so I grabbed some of that bad boy.
All right.
I just hope he gets to face Nola maybe at least once, if not twice.
See, these pitching props are great. Nola, hits allowed, 2.5. Outs, 8.5. 8, ERA of 8 in the first inning this year.
How does he not go over 2.5 hits?
I know. Is that if you're going to chase, I think you play the outs under and the hits over.
Especially, well.
But I mean, you can't. They're not going to get 3 hits off the guy. What's he going 2 innings?
Are you going to pull him after like 2 just to get him out of there if he's dealing well?
Yeah,
that would be dumb.
That's bizarre, right? So his props are great. You got to go Yamamoto over. He's been so good. And then back to the Brewers. I don't know what to do with Priester's strikeouts or his outs recorded, because you can go Quintana after him, or then maybe go Miz and try to close the door. Maybe you get 4 out of Priester and then get a couple out of Quintana, go to Miz, and then the closer. Because with this funky schedule, you went game 1, off day, game 2, off day.
Right.
So you can come back with Freddie. If you lose, you got Freddie in your back. You can do that as well. So that's how I think Milwaukee can approach it. But that's with the K props and the outs recorded, and this is some of these are interesting about how you can handicap and how long are these guys going to go, what the managers are going to do.
How about the Yurfie in the Dodgers game tonight?
Yeah.
Because
I like it.
I know Yamamoto has been on fire here, but he still has to go through Turner, Schwarber, Harper, and then that top of the Dodgers lineup against Aaron Nola.
Mm-hmm.
The Mariners, by the way, can really do some damage here. They now have the bases loaded and nobody out in the top of the 4th.
At the door. Let me look. What is it now?
Well,
They're
and this is where,
$5 in play.
Yeah, and the total just jumped to 7.5. By the way, here they're gonna put it this way: their odds of scoring a bunch of runs now just went way up with the base loaded, nobody out. Although I have had bets on baseball games this year where I was in this exact situation and the team came away with 0 runs or only 1 run, and it's very frustrating.
Yep. You save 40% on our football season special with Follow the Money, promo code FTM. VSiN Pro access everything we do across every sport through the Super Bowl. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, the AI-powered prop projections from the NFL, highlight value versus the books, 24/7 live video on the app, and the NBA betting guide, which is available now. Lock it in. 40% off today. Promo code FTM. Jonathan Davis with all the hockey plays up there. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it every day. The content's incredible. VSiN.com/subscribe.
What grade did you slap on today overall as a sports day? You love to give grades for almost everything. It's got to be teetering on an A.
All elimination games, it's close. I'd like to. We're running into, now we start 49 days of football.
That, 4 games in hockey, day 2, WNBA game as well. Pretty good, my man.
It's up there. It's up there.
Yep. This series would be the absolute nuts. Do you concur? Next, Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Awesome day in sports. Thanks for watching YouTube TV, listening Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country as well. We head out to the Progressive Guest Line as a longtime friend of the show, the great Matt Vasgersian, joins the program. MLB Network. Matt, thanks for the time as always, pal. How are you?
I'm great. I love when there are 4 elimination games on the same day of the schedule. I mean, it's a day to be on the couch and open the bag of chips, maybe multiple bags of chips, and not do anything but watch baseball.
This is an incredible day, no question. And can we please have the Mariners hang on now? They lead 3-0, top of 5, nobody out. And they have Julio Rodriguez at the plate. Cal Raleigh's on first. We don't want to watch this Tigers team anymore beyond today, do we?
I guess not. I mean, they lost 15 out of 21 down the stretch. They are setting futility records for strikeouts in the postseason, and nobody should be surprised because this is kind of who they've been for quite a while. There was a time, seems like a different year, when they were the consensus best team in the American League. Nobody has said that for the last 2 months. They were lucky to get past Cleveland in the minds of some people, and I think soup to nuts, Seattle's just the better team, regardless of how you slice it. Bullpen starters. I mean, when they beat Skubal, by the way, for a 3rd time this year, that had to be demoralizing for the Tigers. Their best chance, they stole game 1. Then you're lined up with Skubal game 2. You're going back home up 2-0, and you're live. But it's completely flipped. And now I think of all these elimination scenarios, the 4 elimination games today, my sense is that 2 of them are going to be over with today. One of them continues, and the other one, Cubs-Brewers, I have zero feel for and wouldn't be surprised by any outcome tonight.
Interesting. How would you play it if you're Milwaukee? Does Priester go try to get 5 out of them, go to Quintana and or Miz? Because with those 2 off days, you could come back with Freddie. How are you going to play this if you're Milwaukee?
Yeah, boy, Paulie, the 2 off days are such an important thing here, and I think the Brewers. You could make a case the Cubs benefit from it as well because their starting pitching's not what it would have been if they'd had Holton, if they'd had guys ready to go and not hurt. If they have to bring Seiya Suzuki back for another start in this series, it's not necessarily great news for the Cubs. So the answer to your question is, I think Priester goes as long as he stays out of trouble. And if it's deep enough into the game to use your primary relievers, you know, as you would in a normal circumstance, then good. If for whatever reason Priester goes short, and I don't anticipate that, you do have Quintana, you do have Miz, you've got plenty of options. So up 2-0, obviously the Brewers have an advantage. They have not been afraid of Wrigley Field all year long. Nobody gives them any respect because they don't slug and they don't have household names, but here they are on the verge of potentially eliminating a team with a much higher payroll and a lot of sexier names. All
right, so you have a lot of confidence, though, in the Yankees tonight. You just don't see how Varland, Lauer, and whoever is going to be able to shut down this Yankees lineup.
Yeah, so Varland, we were shocked last night. We're doing our little post-game show at MLB Network, and we hear that Varland's going to be the opener today. And I know they've had success doing that in very small stages, but Louis Varland's got to face Aaron Judge in the first inning.
Yeah.
Unless the plan is just 4 wide ones and put him at first base. 6 at-bats, 3 homers, including a one that you can't even describe yesterday. I mean, a pitch a foot and a half in at 100 miles an hour has never been hit for a home run in the StatCast era. Never. And everybody I spoke to last night and today say there's only one living human that would have been able to do that, and that's the guy that did it last night. I even said on the air, hey, guys, I don't know what we're going to see in Game 4, but I know what we're not going to see. We're not going to see Louis Varland against Aaron Judge again. Well, here we are with Louis Varland as an opener. So even if that works for Toronto, then you're going to go bulk innings with Eric Lauer, who's gone 5 in 5 of his last 7. He's gone less than 2 innings. So maybe you get through the lineup one time with Lauer, and then you're going to match up the rest of the way. Good luck, because that means 7 guys have to be perfect to slow down a Yankee lineup that has all the momentum right now. And I've been watching that team total for the Yankees, which opened at 4.5. The juice has moved a little bit back and forth. I'm surprised it hasn't been bet up. I guess people aren't convinced on what they saw yesterday, but 4.5 for a team that slugs like that feels too easy for the Yankees to hit their team over today.
Yeah, you texted us last night, and you said you can't get to the window fast enough to bet that. I think I laid 2 cents or 4 cents of juice on that earlier today on 4.5 with the Yankees. Well, here, what do you think of this angle? The first at-bat, they don't want to have – I totally agree. How do you put anything even remotely close to the plate for Judge to hit? And by the way, the same thing probably for Vlad, because he's the hottest guy in baseball right now. Vlad's first at-bat to walk is 6-1. Aaron Judge plus 375.
Wow, those are I don't know where you shop to find numbers as detailed as that, but I love both of those, especially the Judge to walk. I just don't understand how Varland versus Judge is going to yield anything positive for Toronto other than the intentional walk. That sounds like a pretty good play.
Yeah. That's detailed, right? It's like giving out Trout home run first at bat, first inning, right? Yeah, that's excellent.
That's right. When he hits one 408 to the wall.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm confident the Dodgers put it on the Phillies. Yamamoto's been so good, and then you throw a Nola out there. How you want to attack this with matchups, player props, and if you want a Yurfie here with Nola, have an ERA of 8 in the first inning.
Well, let me give you some Yamamoto numbers first as it matches up specific to the Phillies lineup. The Phillies in the postseason, and we're not talking about a huge assortment of games here, 2 games. They're 6 for 38 with a slug under 300 and a 52% whiff against non-fastballs. And you categorize Yamamoto's splitter as a non-fastball, and it was one of the best pitches in the sport this year. I mean, the numbers on it are ridiculous. When he faced the Phillies in April, they took 9 swings at his splitter and whiffed on 5 of them. So the matchup feels lopsided from a starting pitching matchup. Add to that Nola's trouble, and a lot of Philly supporters are saying, yeah, but Aaron Nola back on September 26th was great. He went into the 7th inning, struck out 9. That was against the Twins. The moribund Twins, who were a AAA team in September. So I'm not counting that for anything real relevant. He has struggled this year with his two-seamer and his four-seamer. His fastballs have been hit really hard. So if you look at the Dodgers, and by the way, by right-handed hitters, it's a opposite split thing. If you look at right-handed hitting Dodgers who were particularly good against those two pitches, the two fastball varieties, in September and October, right, when it counts, the sample size we care about, it's Teoscar and it's Mookie. 360 batting average, and each of them slugging over 900 against those two pitches in September. Aaron Nola has those two pitches and a curveball, essentially, and his knuckle curve is the great neutralizer. But even when you add that into the mix, the math keeps coming up with Teoscar and Mookie to have a decent night tonight. Again, that's a team total of 4.5 with a Philly starter that's got an ERA of 8 in the first inning. 8. So your Yurfee idea, pretty good. And even on the other side, because, you know, if you're going to get to Yamamoto, it's usually early, and the Phillies' top of their lineup, as cold as they've been in the first two games of the series, that's their best chance to do anything with Schwarber and Harper and Turner.
My God, your numbers are so good. So the Yurfee, the best I can find is plus 110, but if you just want to attack it by trusting what you pointed out there with Nola going against those guys at the top for the Dodgers to score a run in the first inning is plus 220.
I mean, you know, look at the math there. Guy's got an ERA of 8 in the first inning. So at plus 220, that feels like a pretty nice reward there. Again, Yurfies and Nerfies, I'm not really big on those because there's so much volatility there. But in this case, maybe it makes a little sense for some pizza money, as you guys are fond of saying. I also, again, I like Teoscar and Mookie you usually find those guys at total base props at 1.5, and I think that's pretty reasonable for both of those guys tonight.
Yeah, it's comical to look at Nola's numbers in this game. Hits allowed 2.5, juiced now heavily to the over, but also the outs 8.5.
8.5 outs. They're saying he's not even going to get through the lineup one time.
Yeah,
you're betting that. I mean, I get it because Ranger Suarez is sitting there ready to go for the rest of the way if need be, and they've had a hard time the last month getting the ball to Duran in the 9th inning. And that, getting back to the Yankees and Blue Jays, that was a part of yesterday's calculus when people, that over-under opened at 7.5, believe it or not, yesterday, and ended. I mean, that was just a rocking chair over from the 4th inning on. We forgot because the Yankees bullpen has had so much criticism upon it, and rightly so. We forgot that the Blue Jays bullpen's not exactly locked down either.
Yeah. Yep.
And so you put those two bullpens together. Home team in this season series, Yankees Blue Jays, has won 13 out of the 16 games. I can't guarantee that the Yankees are going to win tonight. Nobody can. I just think there's going to be runs once again, as there were last night.
Matt, you're the best.
Yes.
Dynamite info as always. Thanks. Enjoy the games today, okay?
See you guys.
There you go.
Thank you.
Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network. Nobody's better on the Progressive Guest Line. Paul's going to recap a lot of the big bets that came in yesterday on Win Some, Lose Some here on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome aboard. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard here on a Wednesday. Wednesdays with Vito Sun coming up in a moment, but in 15 minutes, this might be the juiciest news we're going to get all year long in college football. And it just came down the pike within the last half an hour. Wow. Now, time for Wednesdays with Vito Sun as the great Sal Paolantonio joins the program on the Progressive Guest Line. Sal, good afternoon, buddy. Good to talk to you. Well, you want to revisit last week's conversation when you poo-pooed my idea that the Eagles might be a little fugazi?
Well, I tell you what, I'm shocked that you guys have me back on the show this week after I was so adamant that the Eagles would win and cover. And it was so funny. I'm in the press box at the Link in the beginning of the fourth quarter, and the Eagles were up 17-3. And I actually wrote down in my notepad, Mitch and Paulie are going to get an earful from Vito Sun. And then I, the game is over, and I'm walking to the parking lot. I'm walking to my car to go home, and it's monster traffic, and I'm stuck in traffic. And I put on VSiN on Sirius XM, and I had to turn it off, thinking, "My God, what am I going to say to these guys on Wednesday after that call?" But I should know better. I should know better because it's a one-score league. We now have the most one-score games in the history of the league after the first 5 weeks. And I should know better because having covered the league for 33 years, that at the quarter pole, after 4 weeks, teams make adjustments. Teams do different things. They shock you. The Pats go into Buffalo, beat the Bills.
Yep.
Bills were not ready for certain coverages that Mike Vrabel dialed up on that Pats defense, and they fooled Josh Allen of all people. And then you have Liam Cohen dropping a big fat L on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes on Monday Night Football. Who saw that coming? I did not see that coming. So Week 5 is always super unpredictable, and I should have known better. But listen, they were up 17-3, and they coughed it up. Historically bad loss at Lincoln Financial Field.
Well, what you said, though, last week, it did make sense. Think about this. They were 4-0. They have good wins already banked to begin the season, and they basically had one of the worst offenses in football, and that kind of continued. They have more 3-and-outs than anybody in the league. They have 40 plays for negative yards already, which I think is by far and away the most. But you were saying, think about that. They have 4 good wins. Once it gets better, watch out. They're the champs. I would agree with that part. But when does it get better?
Well, you would think tomorrow night against the Giants it will look a little bit better. Historically, they've always steamrolled the Giants, especially within the last 10, 12 years. Saquon has always put up big numbers at MetLife. That knee injury that kept him out of practice on Monday is nothing, so I wouldn't worry about that. But the offensive line is an issue. There's no question about it, and they have to sort of figure that out. If they can't run the ball and become one-dimensional, and Jalen Hurts has to bail them out, then they have to figure out how they are going to have run plays that are not RPOs, right? If the run-pass option is not there and it's just a pass option, then their running game is no good. So they have to figure out ways to run the ball without RPOs, and they didn't do that against Denver. But the bottom line is this, gentlemen. You're up 17-3. You're throwing the ball, 3-and-out, throwing the ball, 3-and-out. You're not taking any time off the clock. Your defense is gassed. Your time of possession is lopsided in favor of the Broncos. You keep putting your own defense back on the field, giving Bo Nix more chances, giving, Sean Payton more opportunities to dial things up, and they got caught. They got caught totally napping. How about that 2-point conversion by Sean Payton? It's like they practiced that 500 times. They went out there, no timeout, did not call a timeout, and just ran it, and it was successful. That was a thing of beauty to watch. But getting back to the Eagles against the Giants, they've had success against them, and it's a short week, and I get all that, but I still like the Eagles tomorrow night to win the football game. But I am not suggesting anybody give a big number. And by a big number, I see anything over 4 points now as a big number in the National Football League. It just is.
Yep, you're right about all the close games. Also, can you why are we seeing so many blown leads and comebacks? It wasn't just the Eagles. It was the most double-digit comebacks in 12 years what happened this week.
Yeah. It's only explainable because I think, and I've been harping on this on your program for 2 years, football teams are not using rushing attempts to take time off the clock. They fall in love with their passing game. And when the passing game doesn't click and it's 3-and-out, you just mentioned it with the Philadelphia Eagles, the most 3-and-outs in the National Football League. They have the most expensive offense in the league. Their offense consumes more of their salary cap than any other offense for any other team in the league, and they have the most 3-and-outs. Most expensive, least efficient. And it shouldn't be that way. And I think the bottom line is with these teams, Buffalo got away from the run. You're at home. You're struggling. You're turning the ball over. It's a close game. Be patient offensively. Be patient. run the ball and protect your quarterback. You saw it with the Chargers. The Chargers were definitely 100% guilty of that. There's no question about that. They have to figure out ways, I think, teams, it's very simple. You want to salt away a win, get your offensive line, and if your offensive line is not moving the line of scrimmage, get max protect. Go with 7 guys on the offensive line. Put a fullback, an extra back on the field. Go 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends. Go 2 backs and 2 tight ends in the third and fourth quarter and wear everybody. The Eagles did that last year. You saw it.
Sure. Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Sal Paolantonio. It's Wednesdays with Vito's son, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. We talked to you about gotta have it games like every single week. And Lamar Jackson was unavailable for practice again today. I mean, if there's any team in the league that has to have a game, it would be Baltimore. But look at this now, Sal. Trending in the wrong direction for Lamar. Are you hearing anything about him? And if he's not there, I mean, how are they going to possibly even compete with the Rams?
Yeah, and that's the game that I am covering this week. Is the Ravens, because it's a gotta-have-it game with the Ravens. Normally we don't cover games with teams with such poor records, but it's such an intriguing situation with Baltimore at the beginning of the year. People are saying they're the odds-on to be in the AFC Championship game. You can forget that. You can forget that now. You can only wonder whether or not they're even going to make the final 7 in the cut to make the playoffs in the AFC. Trending in the wrong direction with Lamar. Your defense, you made some changes. You're trying to get some more pass rush. You're trying to figure out how to stop the bleeding on the deep balls. But when you have Puka Nacua coming in there, and he's got the most targets and the best target ratio in the National Football League, and Matthew Stafford clicking like that, I don't see how they handle the Rams. I really don't. However, again, it's a 7.5-point spread, and I am not recommending anybody give 7.5 in the NFL right now, especially with a team that's got to have it like the Ravens. But I don't see the Ravens winning the football game. I just do not.
Yep, I'm with you. How about the late game? How about Tampa? I'm all in on Tampa here. Mayfield MVP, Bowles Coach of the Year, dealing with all these injuries, 1 seed, huge game, laying 3 against San Francisco.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I really do. I agree with you 100%. Niners on the road. It is a late game. It's a 4:25 game that will help the Niners just a little bit. But, and here's the big but, these teams that are on the road from the West Coast and they have to play in September and October in the heat and humidity of Tampa, it's a tough road for them. I like the Bucs quite a bit. The other gotta-have-it game to me is the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are home against the Lions, right? The Lions right now look so good offensively. They really do. They haven't missed a beat without Ben Johnson. That's the shock of the year. That's the shock of the year. What are the one thing that we were all talking about going in? Are the Lions going to be okay offensively without Ben Johnson? And they are better than that. They're better. So this is a game the Chiefs absolutely have to have. This is on Spagnuolo. This is on Spags. Can he stop that Lions offense? This is a very important game for the Chiefs because the Broncos are definitely breathing down their neck.
Yeah. Well, one last thing for you, and we have like 90 seconds here. Probably unfair to give you only that much time. But what do you make of yet another player dropping the ball before he crossed the goal line, and then Arizona blows the game? It's happened 2 weeks in a row. Are you hearing anything why players continue to do this?
You know, it's really weird. I don't understand it. I don't think there's anything nefarious going on. I think it's just dumb.
Yeah.
I think it's just dumb. I think, you do dumb stuff, you get dumb prizes. That's basically what life is about sometimes. I didn't like the way Gannon handled it. Absolutely not. I'm glad he was fined. Very uncharacteristic of Jonathan Gannon. I've known him for years. He was in Philly. He's a calm, cool, collected kind of guy on the sideline. That shocked me. But, in this day and age, you cannot put your hands on anybody at any time. And the way he reacted is not going to be good for his tenure long term in Arizona. But I don't understand what the heck is going on with these players with this. It's just weird to me. It really is. And I hope it's a coaching point. I hope they're showing this video and saying, the next guy who does this, you're out. You're gone. I don't care who it is. You're cut. You're released. You're moving on.
Totally agree. Sal Pal, you are the best. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. And have fun covering the Ravens game this weekend. I got to have a spot for them.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I was like, are they going to have me back? I want to come back on Mitch and Paulie, please.
Oh, every week. Come on. Never an issue. Never an issue. You're the best, Al, pal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
There you
Thank
go.
you, buddy. Our subscribers now have exclusive access to our new AI player prop projections powered by Opta AI, the same trusted brand beyond soccer analytics in the UK. Get the projections for quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs, sort by player, game, or stat. VSiN.com/props. Got to have it.
I'll say this, and I mean it, quite possibly the juiciest news we're going to get all year long in college football next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming in hot, Wednesdays with the Maestro. Mike Palm here. Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Let's do it. Time now. You cannot be serious.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
All right, here we go. Let's start at Hotspur Stadium on Sunday morning in London, England. Screwed by BBC. The Vikings are playing the Browns. They're down 17-14 in the fourth quarter. 9:46 to go. Stopped on third down at the 33-yard line. They bring in reliable Will Richard to kick a 51-yard field goal to tie the game. The kick is up and takes a hard right, missing by 30 yards. Replays show the kick hit a British cable TV wire and took a hard right. Now, here's the problem, all right? There's two problems here. The NFL comes out with a statement after the game, says it was inconclusive whether it hit the wire. Really? It took a hard right turn. Yeah. The second thing is, did you notice this? On all these international games, there's no instant review? These coaches
yes. Yeah.
Like the pass in the first half that clearly hit the ground for Cleveland? KOC has to use a challenge flag? How come they don't have the expedite? It's not fair. They're playing under a different set of rules. The same thing happened in Indianapolis. The pass got batted up in the air and it hit the overhead camera. That's supposed to be a redo. Right. They don't know how to handle it. Roger Goodell.
You cannot be serious.
Number 2, Twisted Oliver. If I'd have asked you 3 or 4 years ago, what are the best run organizations in sports? What are some names you might have given me, guys? Best run in any sport. Best run organizations.
Well, this team would have been near the top.
Dodgers.
Cardinals.
St. Louis Cardinals, right?
Yeah. Sure,
Baltimore Ravens,
factor,
San Antonio Spurs. How about the St. Louis? Let's talk about attendance in Major League Baseball. Those figures were announced this past week. Who do you think had the biggest decrease in attendance? Well, would you guess it was one of those two teams that had to play in minor league stadiums? Would it have been the Sacramento A's? No, they finished fourth. The fourth biggest decrease, about 150,000 people moving from Oakland to the minor league park in Sacramento. Could it have been the Tampa Bay Rays, who moved from the Trop to the minor league ballpark down there? No. About 300,000 down in attendance. Could it have been the Baltimore Orioles, who were picked to win the division and were out of it by the middle of May? They had their biggest decrease in the history of the Baltimore Orioles in season attendance from one year to the next. Over 477,000 decrease. That's a huge number. They weren't even number one. No, it's the St. Louis Cardinals. Over 600,000 less fans this year. An intelligent group of fans, very knowledgeable baseball fans, and the product they put on the field was not compelling enough for them, and it's in a city that only has the Blues. No more professional football team, no more professional basketball team. 600,000 down. And what did the Cardinals decide to do? Bring back Oliver Marmol as their manager. Ollie Marmol, who was voted the manager the players would least like to play for in a poll in June of all Major League Baseball managers. Ollie Marmol. A roster made up of a mixture of has-beens and young guys that haven't proven anything yet, and non-competitive in an NL Central where now the dominant powers have become the Cubs and the Brewers. I think it's totally an organizational failure. So St. Louis Cardinals.
You cannot be serious.
And then I really don't know how to describe what happened in Phoenix on Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. I just cannot believe what I saw. Number 3, we've now seen the impossible, to quote that line from Vin Scully when Kirk Gibson hit the home run. In a year filled with the improbable, we've now witnessed the impossible. The Titans are 0-4, well on their way to 0-5, have done nothing offensively the entire game. You're up 21-6, and you have 3rd and 1 on your own 32-yard line with 13 minutes to go. I just want to ask you this. If you'd have run the ball with Mercado, and he'd have gotten stuffed and you would have punted, do you think you would have lost that game? up 21-6 with 12 minutes to go against the Titans. If you'd have just run the ball on 3rd and 1, and he gets stuffed at the line and you punt, there'd be no thought that anything was going to happen, right? But instead, he breaks it for the longest run of his career, and of course, we all know he let go of the ball before he entered the end zone. They totally became paralyzed and mentally disintegrated. This is what the fault is. They mentally disintegrated. Gannon's over there shoving him, punching him, whatever he's doing on the sidelines. They absolutely believe because he did that they were going to lose a game to a team that hasn't been competitive all year, that hadn't moved the ball all game. Of course, then the interception becomes a touchdown. I would ask you this too, Paul. Doesn't the intercepting player have to complete the process of a catch through the ground? Why isn't that reviewed? He catches it, goes to the ground, and fumbles. For a receiver, they'd say no catch. Not even a review, touchdown. And then the biggest sin of all. Have they not watched football in the last 15 years? You think punting on the other side of the 2-minute warning, the other team has no chance to kick a field goal?
I couldn't
The other
believe
team's a 70% chance to win it. And Gannon says, well, that's Drew's call. He had nothing to do with whether they threw the ball on the last possession. Petzing makes all the decisions. You just run the ball 3 times and say there's no chance an NFL team with 2:08 and a timeout can kick a field goal? Are you crazy? They're a favorite to do that.
Yep.
And then here's to top it off. They fined Gannon $100,000 for his confrontation with DeMarcado. Why don't you fire him? You think the players can have any respect after you fine him and say he was totally in the wrong for confronting the player? You have to eat that. You can't come out and publicly fine him for that. This is a total failure at every level of the organization. But mostly I say, Jonathan Gannon.
You cannot be serious.
Yeah, as a result of that, his odds plummeted. I'll update this top of the hour.
Coach of the year?
First coach fired.
Oh, he was. I have a bet on him for Coach of the Year. I thought if the Cardinals won 11 or 12 games, he'd be a good candidate for it. They were playing well the last 2 months of the year last year.
Yeah.
22-1. They had the biggest move in the NFC West preseason. Odds to win the division here down at Circa. They got bet by sharp money. Where do they go from here?
They could have been 4-0 going into that game. They blew the last 2 weeks.
I think they get blown out Sunday.
I do too.
Well, it's a bad matchup on top of everything else.
Right. Here's Callahan. Every time it happens, you bring it up to the team. This is Callahan. We have a saying, letters and logos. You never, 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 under any circumstances, let go of the ball until you see the letters and logos in the end zone. And that's something I know every team in the league preaches. It's wild to me it continues to happen. I know it's getting coached everywhere in the league, and it happens 3 or 4 times a year, which is crazy to me. And we'll get more into this